Hi, Susie.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi, Jean. Hi,
Hi.
Bridget. Hi, Liz.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, fine.
All right,
That's
thank you.
good.
Good to see you, Susie. Human face.
Yes, absolutely. Right. We've got a couple more people joining us. I hope soon. I've just been checking that everybody's got the link.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Hopping in and out. And I suddenly thought, oh, it's gone 7.
While you're waiting,
Well,
Susie.
yeah.
Oh, my niece would like to join us tomorrow. Can I pass the?
Yes,
pass
please
on?
do pass that link
Really,
on. Yes.
please.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get her to join you for a long time.
Yeah. No, that's great.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll do it afterwards.
That's fine. I'm just downing a wee cup of red bush tea here. Excuse me. Right. How has your day been?
I've been Zooming this afternoon.
Oh, you'll be zoomed out by the end of the evening.
Yeah. And then I've been to my brother's. I bought a sports ball and I couldn't pump it up enough. And Julie, who's coming tomorrow night, who's a physio, had videoed herself on the sports ball for exercises to do for my back. Of course, right. I couldn't blow the ball up enough, so I've been to my brother's and he's blown it up with his compressor. That was so much easier.
Ah, yes. What, than huffing and puffing, you mean?
Yeah. Well, no, I've got a little pump you get with it.
Oh, I see.
But, it had to be 80 centimeters and I could only get it to 64, 65.
That would be a lot of puff.
Yeah.
And a lot of pumping, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it was a lot. Well, I did it twice and I thought, can't do it anymore. So I texted him and said, can you pump me up? So I start using it tomorrow.
It's always good to know someone with a compressor. They're very useful.
Oh, yeah.
Airbeds, whatever. Yeah. Well, this evening, we're just going to do an introduction. I'm just going to hop out for a mo. Sorry, it's because it's the first evening. I'm a bit worried that people actually get on.
So where are you, Liz?
Well, I'm living in Germany, but I used to live near the Wirral years ago. So I'm working in Germany. So I moved here about 8 years ago.
Whereabouts in Germany?
Dusseldorf. In Dusseldorf.
Oh, I know it. I used to. Well, I've got friends in Dortmund, but I've flown into Dusseldorf 50 years. Well, I didn't fly in last year because not allowed.
No, and you won't probably. Well, you might go this year, if it's still moving. Maybe not. I don't know.
Depends whether you're allowed to go without a vaccine, because I won't be vaccinated.
Right. Yeah. This I'm not sure, but yeah. I don't know. There's no rules so far. You have to have a test. But I think there's no going in and out anyway at the moment.
Oh no, I wouldn't travel at the moment.
But I'm sure that will lift in a few months' time.
I don't wear a mask.
Yeah. Then I think you would have a problem at the moment in Germany.
Oh, I've got a visor in case, but
yeah. But now you have to wear medical masks, going into any public building. So it's more stricter.
Yes. Well, it's, people here are walking around with it, through the streets, driving in their cars with it. And I think all that carbon dioxide they're breathing in.
Yeah.
Right,
No.
sorry, I'm just going to.
I'm here
find-
now, Bert.
You're not Damien, are you? Are you?
No, I'm Bridget. I've met you before. I'm sorry, I'm not so well tonight, so that's why I'm up here in my bed. But I'm
Right.
doing
Sorry.
well.
No. Sorry, I didn't recognise you, Bridget. You
I
can
know. I'm
you-
incognito. I'm a Damien, really.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Deb.
Hi, Deborah. Hello.
Hello.
You got volume? Oh, you have. Brilliant.
Hi. Sorry, I don't know what was wrong with the computer. It wouldn't let me on.
Ah, right.
Sorry.
Well, I
about
was just hoping for. I'll
That's
tell you
great.
what we'll do. We will start with a wee introduction while we're waiting, because there could, I hope, Anne from the Isle of Man is going to join us. So would you mind mentioning why you want to do this, and your name, of course?
I start. I'm Jean Carlisle. I'm practicing retirement. I've been retired quite a few years and I'm enjoying every minute. And I'm doing this course because all the other courses I've done with Susie, I feel so much better than I did 20 years ago. It's been a very good journey. Yes.
Thank you.
And I'm just looking to having a bit more energy. So, yes. On we go.
Thank you.
Well, I'm Bridget, and I live near this lovely lady in Ackworth. And so, yes, I'm here just to have a rejig, beginning of the year, start some new habits, and keep going to stay healthy and well. As you can see, it's working so well. We've only got better, Susie.
Well, it's only up from here then.
It's only up from here. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm Deborah, and like Jean, I've known Susie about 16 or 17 years. And to say I trust with my life is probably accurate. If I've got any ill health issues or any concerns about myself or my family, I would speak to Susie in the first instance. And I don't think we've gone far wrong, really. And just like Jean and like Bridget, it's exactly as the course states. I need more. Well, I'd like more energy, and it's also another focus for right now because we're not in very pleasant times. So it's probably a distraction and a focus, too. So that's it basically. But nice to meet you, Liz. Anyway.
I can hardly see you, Deborah.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, you need to be higher in the chair or lower in the.
Yeah, I need a booster chair, I think.
It's built for your husband, that one.
I'll go and get a cushion in a minute.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
Thank you. It's not easy at the minute, for sure.
Hmm.
How about yourself, Liz?
Yeah, and I'm doing this to see if I can learn something about nutrition and how to maybe help sleep better and have more energy. And yeah, so a bit like everybody else, really, just see what I can learn.
That's lovely. Thank
Was
you.
this your first time, Liz? With
It
Susie?
is, yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
it's a wonderful journey.
Oh, good. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. I hope so.
I've been seeing Susie for 16 years and I've changed half a dozen medical things round
Right.
naturally
Yeah.
with supplements and therapies.
Well, that's all good, and that's, I suppose, the kind of thing I want to get out of it as well, to see what I can do to help myself
Mm.
within reason, obviously.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Yeah. A bit of self-responsibility for never goes amiss, does it? It's well, I'm not quite sure what's happened to everybody else at the moment. I've tried ringing. So I think the best thing to do is get started, and if necessary, I can catch people up on a little one-to-one if
But
need be.
you're recording, Susie, aren't you? So
I,
they
I am recording. Sorry about this. Yes, I'm recording all these group sessions. Yeah.
yeah. So
So
you know
what
they can.
will happen is I'll drop those into your email with a link to an unlisted YouTube. So they're only shared between the people who are in them. They're not on common old garden YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I grab this presentation, which always takes a minute to get to the slideshow. Okay, so the first place we're going to start is with an overview of everything, well, not everything that we're going to be looking at, but the basic principles of what we're going to look at this time over the next dozen weeks together. Now, most of you know me really well anyway, but I'm still practicing what I preach and nagging people to death as kindly as I can.
It works, Susie.
What I hope from the next 3 months is you'll get the vavavoom that you're looking for, and you know about the other things that I do anyway, so we'll leave all that. So thank you for introducing yourselves. As I mentioned, this is going to be an overlook. What I'd like to do is set up a WhatsApp group or a Facebook group, depending on what's right for everybody else, and just post there during the week. You can ask any questions in there that would be really helpful for the whole group about what we've been doing. Also, each week sharing recipes, relating everything that we talk about to you yourself, and attaching handouts as well to the email I'm going to send out each time, with the recording, with the slide handout, and hopefully what we'll get all the way along is nutrition's health inducing potential. So for today, I'm going to start with the basic building block of the body, because that's what I relate everything back to. And Bruce Lipton, who is the amazing author who wrote The Biology of Belief, I feel like really he's a sort of guru of cells, because he suggests that we should consider that every cell is like a miniature human, because it has tiny little organs in it and systems in it that are just like the organs and systems in the large body that we inhabit that is made up of cells. And so, for example, the membrane of the cell is like the brain of the body. The nucleus of the cell is like the reproductive system of the body. The mitochondria are what you might say is probably partly like the liver. It's the place where it's the energy factory of the cell. It's where we make energy for the body. And if you can imagine, you could sort of assign that role to the liver, because that's where we unstack and pack away our glucose that we use for energy, and also the adrenals, because they help us release sugar from the cells. So everything the cell needs for really good health, the body needs as well. So we're going to have a look at the relationship between the cells and the body, and their needs for water, their needs for essential fatty acids, their pH, and then also after we've done a good sort of 6 weeks on that, we're going to expand outwards and have a look in more detail at how that can relate to certain issues that the body might be struggling with as well. And what I love about Bruce Lipton is he says, not only consider your cell a miniature human, each cell a miniature human, but that you are a bustling community of 50 trillion individual cells. And that community ideally needs to be communicating with itself all the time, or with each other. And so literally, cells are like the building blocks or the bricks of a house. And each organ and each tissue in your body is made up of these bricks. The only difference being, of course, that they're very much a living organism, and so they have certain needs for survival. And so if you just think about the gut, in every 72 hours, the whole cellular lining of your 30 foot of tubing has to be replaced, the top layer. And so in order to sort of feed that constant daily turnover and remaking of cells, your body has to expend a significant amount of energy every single day and use a significant amount of nutrients in order to do that. So that's why they often say that if you think about what we eat, about 80% of it is used to digest your food. And some of that 80% will be to replenish the lining of your gut. So you only get about 20% of the energy that's available in food for energy. And so the more efficient your gut and the healthier it is, the better, really. And this particular slide here is of some of the little villi in the small intestine. And those darker areas at the base are the crypt, if you like, of the villi, where the little baby cells start to remake themselves and then gradually travel up to the top of the villi where they shed off. So one of the things that they've known since the 1800s, but has largely been denied by medical science, unfortunately, is that the health of your cells is totally shaped by the environment that they're living in. And so if they're living in an alkaline pH that's very hydrated, then they're going to get on really fine. And it's a bit like a goldfish being in a clean bowl of water rather than a stagnant, green, mucky bowl of water. And so the basic needs of the body are pure water, preferably that is energized, that we have fresh air that we can breathe, that's free of pollution, a source regularly of vitamin D from sunshine filtered by ozone, a really nutrient-rich, fresh food diet, that we're able to move and get the blood and lymph moving through exercise, but particularly the lymph, because it doesn't have a pump like the heart. So it needs to keep moving every day to help the body cleanse and help the lymph cleanse. And Tony Robbins reckons that we need love, hope, compassion, and a sense of purpose. Now, if we're not in defense mode, if we're not stressed, then we can be in touch more easily with those feelings. So we're going to have a look at stress and the impact it has on well-being, and then each of water, essential fats, and the acid alkaline pH. And part of the reason for that is that if you just think about your cells, they are the main criteria to start with for a healthy cell. And I'll explain more with each session as we go along and build up that cell. So we're going to look at those in relationship to your physical body, your emotions, your mind, and your spiritual self, your soul. So when your body is not stressed, it's able to be in a state of growth and repair. So each night when you sleep, the nervous system will start to give out the messages to the body, right, okay, now you reproduce the cells, you cleanse, you repair, you rebuild. While we sleep, all of our main routes of elimination, our liver, gallbladder, lungs, and bowels, are doing an overnight cleanse. And that means that we can, without stress and with good sleep, be in a state where we are remaking the body. And we are making our gut cells, remaking our gut cells in those 72 hours very efficiently. So not only growth, repair, and restore, but from a mental, emotional level, we're able to feel in touch with our creativity and innovate new ideas. And when we're not stressed, it means that nutrients can flow into the cell and waste can leave and exit the body via the routes of elimination. So if you think about a system where growth or protection is the main aim of the system, so it's your nervous system that controls those growth or protection behaviours. So where you are a multicellular organism like we are, the nervous system is like the government. Hopefully not like the government we've got at the moment. And so the nervous system is organising its cellular systems. It's recognising there's an environmental stress, and it alerts the cells to impending danger. But then really it's up to sort of a collective set of circumstances, if you like, that the cells will protect themselves from that imminent danger. And when you look at that from a physiological point of view, your hypothalamus produces CRF hormone, which triggers the pituitary to release ACTH hormone, which triggers the adrenals to produce the cortisol, one of the stress hormones. And so that stress hormone release is what sets up a situation that unfortunately takes you away from growth and into protective mode. And that's okay if it's short term. That's not a problem. Now, I apologise that on here I've not put the expansion of CRF and ACTH, and it's because it's horribly long names, something like adrenocorticotrophic hormone, and I think the other one is corticotrophic something factor. But I will put those on a handout. We will have those on a handout. So if you really want to know. So this is really what happens when those hormones start to come into play and your body is reacting to the stress. It's completely in defense mode and protection mode. Your ability to cleanse goes down. And the reason for that is in the other corner, because you start to lose water, because when we're under stress, we sweat more, the heart rate increases, the breathing rate increases, the adrenals go into fight and flight. And all of those things mean that we use more water. And also water can get misplaced into the wrong places in the body, which is why when we're stressed, we can start to swell. And so if you can imagine, might get to the end of the day and find that our tummy feels very bloated, or that ankles or fingers are swollen, if that dehydration has been allowed to go on for some time. So then we've said our heart rate increases. Not only does that happen, but our cholesterol levels also raise. And one of the reasons for that is to plug gaps in the cell membranes to stop them losing too much water. So cholesterol is very much a protective mechanism rather than a bad cholesterol versus good cholesterol point. And we're going to come back to that in more detail. Your blood clotting rate also gets higher. And so your little blood cells start to clump together in your blood, and your blood becomes thicker and stickier. And you've probably heard that that's not a good thing. Then also, the blood supply to your frontal cortex of the brain, which is sort of your planner and your reasoner, goes down, and your digestive system also goes down, which means that your absorption is poorer. Your ability to actually digest the food is poorer. You're more likely to suffer digestive symptoms like acid reflux, like colic, indigestion generally. And the reason for the blood going down, the blood supply going down to those two areas, is that when your stress hormone is in full flow, what happens then is that the blood diverts to your arms and legs and nourishes the limbs of the body. So because your body's expecting you to run or fight, whatever this challenge is. So it's a real amygdala, lizard brain response. And then unfortunately, let's say that you had some bacterial activity or some viral activity in the body or fungal activity. Your immune system, when you get your stress hormones up, would simply shut down. So it wouldn't deal with those. It would regard the stress response as being the more important response. I've got to run from this. I've got to get away from whatever this is. And so your immune system gets suppressed. And this is why when we get to, for some people, it can be that they're under a lot of stress. And then as soon as they get a break or some just temporary relief, like a little holiday, they're poorly, because their immune system comes back up and it responds to the problem, whichever it happens to be. Now, somewhere we might have Anne. Oh, hello,
Yes.
Anne.
Hi.
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 I've had a bit of a problem today. My daughter's mother-in-law died in the early morning, so she was she was wanting to talk to me, so.
Yes, of course.
Anyway.
Well, it's lovely to see you now.
Right.
And,
it was not COVID. I thought.
Well,
This month we've had 3 members who are all in their 80s died, and not one of them is COVID. They were all things that were wrong with them.
Yes. Oh, would you like to say a quick hello to everybody now, or?
No, I'm fine. I'll just listen. You crack on. I'm sorry I'm late.
Yeah. No. I'm very sorry to hear about the family.
Well, they were all expected in a way, but it still counts a lot. Not for so much for me, but for my son-in-law was very upset.
Yes. Yeah. of course.
Doesn't really matter how old you are, does it? Does it?
No, it doesn't. No,
Or
it
how
doesn't.
prepared you are, you know.
No, it certainly doesn't. It's tough, and a shock. Well, we were just going through stress, and what I'll do is, and I'll sort of catch you up on the one-to-one on Monday.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And we'll go from there. So then, oh yeah, so we were just saying that if you're under stress, you'll then perhaps get to a holiday or a break from the stress, and your immune system will come back up and start to deal with whatever else is going on in the body. And boom, suddenly people find themselves feeling really rough with, you know, a cold or a flu or whatever. And, you know, it's one of those things where running on cortisol can actually feel, first of all, can feel quite powerful, because it is a, you know, very powerful release of glucose, and people get, you know, some people just sort of live on that cortisol adrenaline reaction. But in the end, poor old adrenals get pretty worn out. And of course, the other thing that's going on is that the effects it has in the body are more and more dehydrating. And once dehydration sets in, that's when, for example, we can start to feel things like cravings come on, because the dehydration has an impact on our blood sugar. And we, in the nutrition sort of naturopathy world, we call this a dehydration alert, that you start to notice symptoms of that dehydration coming on. So things like headaches, as we said, cravings, other signs that the blood sugar's dropped, like crashes in energy, and gut problems are a classic sign of dehydration, because your gut is the first place where the mast cells in the gut will start to produce histamines, and then we can start to hit into allergies as well. And it can feel very, very uncomfortable to be dehydrated through stress. Do you know, in all the case histories I've taken over the years, the biggest impact on people's health is always stress. And there's studies that also back this up. So 4 research studies that were done from 1999 to 2004 showed that every major illness is linked to stress. Where a GP has made a visit or has been visited by a patient, 75 to 90% of those have stress as a major contributing factor. That was a 2000 study. Now, what's really interesting about the brain, because if you look at the brain where it's not in a depressed state, you can see how lit up and what a lot of activity there is in certain areas of the brain. And what's interesting is that depressed people have a surprising lack of cell division in the hippocampus in the brain that is involved with our memory. And in chronic depression, both the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex are physically shrunken. Now, they reckon that in a state of depression, the brain can also, in a state of dehydration, the brain can shrink about 40% because of this lack of cell growth. And so if you can imagine, that would have a huge impact on depression. So thinking about stress and your emotions, not just your physical, what happens when we are so dry that our brain can't function properly. Well, Deepak Chopra reckons that we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are the same as yesterday. So it all depends on what we're telling ourselves, and what a difference that is going to make to whether we're stuck in a rut or whether we're moving forward. And so if you think about that from a soul level, and there's some lovely books out there. There's A Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, who is the man to read about, to read if you want to learn about cells. And Lynn McTaggart, her book The Field is lovely. And so when we have a community of cells, they're all committed to a common plan of action, because they can connect with each other. Whereas if we are cut off from some of our cells, we will possibly be cut off from how they're feeling and be less able to connect with the community that we have around us. And in a sense, you could also look at what's going on at the moment as having that effect. And so in the brains of Buddhists, they did some lovely scans of a meditating mind, and they found that activity or cellular growth as well, activity in the medial prefrontal cortex increases, that the hippocampus density, which we were saying in depression was shrunk, in dehydration shrinks, that's involved with memory, that increases, and your amygdala, that's involved with fear, anxiety and stress, also decreases. So you've got your reptile brain not becoming quite so well used, but all the other bits that you need for memory and reason are there and coming back with that, you know, even if it's 5 minutes of self-reflection, 10 minutes of self-reflection a day, some nice breathing and focusing on that. So just as a recap, you are yourself, if you like, rather, and I say that with a CELLF. Your environment that your cells live in is hugely important, and water is a starting point for making that the right environment to live in. It will hugely affect your cell's health and the environment it sits in, your energy and your vibration, if you like, your ability for your cells to connect and communicate with each other, all 50 trillion of them, your body's ability for your cells to repair and regrow, you know, reproduce. Right, any questions? No. Any thoughts about what fluids we drank 50 years ago?
Tea, milk,
Yeah,
cocoa,
yeah. I always had cocoa at my nana's. When I started.
local pop.
Yeah,
We used to get local pop that was made down the street, you know.
It was a bit of a treat though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but only in the summer. Yeah, but that was about it. We mainly drank tea and milk. I mean, we had that horrible orange juice that you used to get, you know, in a sort of little bottle. You know what I mean?
National Health.
Yeah,
That was clinic,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
yeah, that was about it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, my parents didn't drink coffee. They didn't think much of coffee. It was, oh, well, have Horlicks. Horlicks, yeah.
Yeah. hmm Yeah, that was
Um,
that was around a long time, wasn't it?
Horlicks, cocoa. Didn't have drinking chocolate, no.
No. hmm
But we never drank things like Coke and we certainly did not have any alcohol.
hmm
At Christmas, a bottle of sherry and a bottle of whiskey came in the house, but we didn't have it.
Right. Yeah.
And that was it, really.
Yeah. I remember my granddad used to make snowballs when I was about 11 or 12, but I don't think they put a lot of alcohol in it.
Mhm.
I used to love a snowball.
Yeah.
To love the avocado on its own.
What about now? What fluids are available to drink now?
Oh, my
Well-
grandchildren drink a lot of squash and a lot of Cokes and all these things, you know, which are produced now, and coffee and these sweet coffees,
Yeah.
all sorts of funny things that you get in the coffee shops, really. Probably drink more coffee than anything else, I would think.
There's
They do
certainly-
drink water. They
Yeah.
probably drink more water than we did, because we didn't drink a lot of water, to be honest.
Right. Who did drink water as a kid out of interest?
I did. It was council pop.
Council Pop.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, we didn't have a lot of water, but there was some in the mix of everything else, certainly. Yeah.
But tea and coffee, you know, when it was warm in the summer, it was council pop, and then it was a cup of tea or a cup of coffee the
Mm.
rest of the time, or some juice, orange juice watered down.
Can anybody remember how early, if they might have had caffeine?
Probably I was in my teen. Oh, there would have been coffee in the tea, you know, but coffee, I probably 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you would have, well, you had tea, and we had tea with sugar too, two sugars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And of course there's caffeine in tea, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think probably about, I don't think I drank tea when I was very young. Probably didn't drink enough. I think probably 11 or 12 tea.
Mm. Well, I can remember my earliest memory of tea is sitting in a high chair drinking a very warm, milky, sweet cup of tea out of a bottle.
No. Yeah, no, we never had that.
And it
that
was
was
mainly
beyond.
milk with a little bit of tea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Was that cow's milk, Susie?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it would have been. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't think anything else existed, really, do you? I mean, I never heard of all these other things, really.
Mm.
I mean, it was during the war, you know, when I was a baby, and I know my mother breastfed me, and there was a lot big shortages, so I should think you just got whatever was going, really.
Mm.
But I didn't drink tea till I was older. No.
Yeah.
I probably drank milk, and I'm sure I used to have cocoa at night. Yeah.
Right.
Probably
Yeah.
never drank enough. Probably quite dehydrated as a child.
Mm.
Yes, I think
Yes.
I've.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we think about water, these are liver cells, and if your cells have water coming in, because your body loses 4 pints of water each day, and through your lungs, your breath, your kidneys, your urine, your skin, through sweat. And so if we replace that with just plain water, then your body's able to cleanse and your wastes can leave. Whereas your cells, if they're sitting in a body that's very dry and very stressed, are not going to feel as energyful. And these are brain cells in the middle. So if you think about the state of your cell is pretty much the state of your mind. And so if you've got some lovely fresh water coming in, your brain is up to 80% water in the cells, higher than the body, higher ratio, and needs to be able to have access to water, because if you think about all of the nerve cell impulses, they need some water to be able to carry the electrolyte minerals and help them send the signals. So then without that, it's not going to be as efficient. From a spiritual point of view, I don't know if you've seen the work of Masaru Emoto. He was a Japanese researcher who wrote the book Hidden Messages in Water. And he would sometimes mark a bottle with a word or a phrase like thank you, or wisdom, or truth, or eternal, I love you, love and gratitude. And then he would freeze the water and then get an independent researcher to look at the crystals. And so the crystals along the bottom, you can see you make me sick and evil, are quite disordered, whereas the crystals from the water that's been frozen with a word that is positive are beautifully formed. And there's also in the bottom corner polluted water before prayer and polluted water after prayer. And when you get your slide handout, you'll be able to see the difference between the two. And so, I mean, obviously this is a very kind of esoteric way of looking at water, but I've often heard that water described as a liquid crystal. It's something that's able to take on board an energetic vibration, if you like, and be affected by it. So if every time you have a new container of water, you just hold it in your hands and just bless it for a moment with love and healing for yourself, and then have a swig. It might make quite a difference. So it's acknowledging that everything is energy. So we are energy vibrating at a much lighter frequency, if you like, than the chair that we might be sat on. And so that's very dense, it's very solid, it's not moving, where we, with a much lighter vibration or energy, are able to move and are living as such. And so when each cell is able to feel what the others are doing, because it's got the hydration there to be able to be connected, there will be this collective knowing. And I don't know if you've heard of the 100th monkey syndrome, where they looked at monkeys on an island that I think there was something about them washing their sweet potatoes in the sea because they were a bit muddy. And by the time 100 monkeys had seen the others washing their potatoes in the sea to get them clean before they ate them, there were monkeys on another nearby island who were all suddenly doing this without one of them having thought of it. And so it's like the collective mind, the collective animal mind, is much less cluttered than ours, if you like, and they're able to connect in to other animal mind and have skills available to them that they didn't necessarily see, as it were. But equally, there is a thought that young children are now so au fait with technology because there is a collective mind in humankind, if you like, that they're accessing to already know how to use these things much better than their grandparents, for example. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So then moving on to essential fatty acids, are all fats bad? What do you think?
Well, we did that last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Friday.
Yeah, I had a quick look at on it.
Yeah. Well, the saturated fats aren't all bad, are they?
No, not at all. No.
And we need fats. Our brain needs fats.
Yes.
So any low-fat diet you need to avoid like the plague, really.
That's it.
And it's the fats like in fish, where fish and chips, where they cooking over and over again.
Yeah.
In the same fat. I mean, it produces all the free radicals.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the trans fats. Yeah. And
Yeah.
we are going to have a really good look at all of the fats in detail. But interestingly, just read a study today that showed that women who have an increase in saturated fats, as opposed to all of the low fat products and so on, have a greater success in losing weight effectively. It's the sort of focus on eating low fat product and getting an over amount of omega-6 fat that can actually be a huge problem.
I mean, one of my friends, she's only young, she's in her 50s, and she's got developed rheumatoid arthritis. And she's gone on this diet from a guy and it just cut fat out completely.
Right.
It must be really bad. I've tried telling her, but she doesn't take any notice, people. But she doesn't have any fat at all.
Right. Does she feel any better?
No, I don't think she does, really. Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. No, I mean, the body does need fats, and every single cell membrane in the body needs the right ratio, and some of them are saturated and some of them are unsaturated, and we'll come back to more detail on that. And so if your body has essential fatty acids, because they're the ones that often we're most depleted in, then you will have cells that are able to be more flexible and allow nutrients in and waste to leave. When your cells have the wrong ratio of fats, perhaps by damaged saturated fats even, then your body will basically make up your cell membranes from any fats that are available in the diet. And some of those, like, if it was margarine, for example, can be nearing plastic, so they're not such a great thing to be making a cell membrane from. the lovely thing about essential fatty acids is they're rich in electrons. And so the electrons, when you're electron high, you attract photon light to your body, and you're much better able to use oxygen. You're much better able to use sunlight in the body. And in fact, what's really interesting is that some people find that once they start to get the ratio of essential fatty acids right in the body, they actually feel a lot more comfortable in heat and sunlight where they didn't before. And so also the essential fats support the making of 2,000 enzymes in the body. And those enzymes are needed for digestion, for making hormones and so on. So also from your essential fatty acids, you make something called prostaglandins. And prostaglandins are short-acting tissue hormones that help your liver detoxify its wastes, help reduce inflammation in the body, and therefore any pain that's caused by inflammation. They help your body repair its blood vessels and other cell membranes, obviously. It improves your digestion because each and every little goblet cell that's producing mucus, a sort of watery fluid that keeps all of your internal membranes moist, whether that be in the 30-foot tract of your digestive system, vagina, whatever it happens to be, the goblet cells are what helps produce that lovely mucus that keeps your food moving through your gut, and also help your kidneys. These prostaglandins, some of them help your kidneys with elimination. So they're really crucial. And your membrane of your cells is literally like the brain. And what Candace Pert found, and she wrote the book Molecules of Emotion, is that your emotion is not just felt in your brain. So she found that emotional neurotransmitters were also to be found in the digestive system. So you know when people talk about getting butterflies and feelings in their gut, that literally is true. Your gut is like a huge second brain. And you know there will be other cells that are affected by these neurotransmitters in the body as well. And so from a cellular level, again, if we're, even if you look at something from a more philosophical level, if we're able to connect with light, then esoterically, light is seen as a form of spiritual information, if you like. And if we can connect well with light, and we can use light in the body, because we need to be able to let light in through the eyes, comes into the back of the eye, it travels to the hypothalamus and then the pituitary, and the pituitary sends that light signal right down through your other endocrine glands. And literally you get a signaling system of light going right through the body, and the responses to that light can be enormous. So for example, in the spring, when we get more light, the body literally becomes more able to produce the hormones that help our well-being, and it's amazing how light is equally a food alongside the food that we eat, and we know that from conversion with vitamin D. And so moving on to RPH. Sorry, any questions so far? Speeding along here. Is everybody all right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And so our cells, just going back to the goldfish in the bowl, if we just think about our cells, our tissues and our blood, all of those tissues in the body and body fluids need to be in an alkaline pH, so from 7 and beyond. And your blood in particular needs to maintain a very strict pH of 7.365. And so if your blood is not able to dump those acid wastes that are coming in perhaps from digesting acidic foods, you'll be in trouble. So of course that's exactly what it does. It dumps acid wastes out into the lymph and then into the cells. And so it's our cells that have to put up with the extra acids that we bring in through the diet. So salty foods, burnt foods, sugary foods. Salt and sugar is surprisingly acid forming. Excess of animal proteins, because it's not that animal proteins are bad per se, but definitely an excess of them is going to be very acid forming. And so if the inside of the body then is also dehydrated and unable to clear those acid wastes, we're going to become more and more acidic inside. And the cells, if you imagine them being a goldfish, are not going to be in a well-functioning state. And again, when we start to get that over acidity, we can notice several things. So for example, more prone to allergies or just general sneezing, which can be a low blood sugar thing. You know, if you find yourself suddenly in the early morning having a sneezing fit, it's generally because the blood sugar is low. When we're acidic, one of the favourite places for the body to dump acid wastes is into the fat cells. And so we can find ourselves gathering weight, often around the abdomen, the hips or the thighs, for other reasons as well, but also because the body's favourite place for dumping those acid wastes is in the fat cells. So then we can also find ourselves feeling very fatigued and sleepy, and blood sugar can be peaking and troughing rather than on a straight and narrow. And if we're over acidic, we can also feel quite flat of mood. Certainly if the blood sugar is coming up and down, it's not going to make us feel too great mentally. And so thinking about the body, the mind from an emotional point of view, the pH, again, when our cells are in an alkaline pH and we're feeling more energetic, then again, we're going to be able to access our creativity, our focus, our concentration, and feel more like innovating and creating. Whereas the more acidic the body becomes, certainly if you've come across any of Robert Young's work, pH Miracle, he's the green juice man, makes people drink green water all day, and his microscope work shows that the more acidic we are, the more likely our blood cells are to clump together again. So they become thick and sticky in a state of high acidity, and they're sick and fed up, if you like. And so that, you know, if our blood cells are clumping together, we're not going to feel that great on an emotional level either, because that will particularly affect brain function, or affect lung function, because we're not able to drop the oxygen off, drop the carbon dioxide off at the lungs, collect the oxygen as easily. And so, even just oxygen getting to the cells is going to be compromised. And so the more acidic we are, the more prone we are to bacterial activity in the body, to viral activity, and to fungal activity. And so the body then has work on with the immune system to lower that activity as well. And so from a spiritual point of view, when your cells are happy in their alkaline environment, then you're perhaps more likely, if you feel like you had a soul purpose in coming here and being here, and you feel comfortable that you're doing what you want to be doing, that you can connect with that, and that when our cells are in a more acidic environment, they're not going to feel as connected with each other, and we're maybe not going to feel as connected with ourselves. What's also really important is what the Chinese call the triple burner. And it's basically our routes of elimination and whether they're working well and efficiently. And so all of the things that we've described this evening will help them work more efficiently. But just to look at them, for example, your lungs are one of your main routes of elimination, and the Chinese call them your third lung, or sorry, I'll come back to that, it's the skin. Your Chinese call the third lung or the third kidney the skin. And so the skin is one that I haven't put here because it's not included in the triple heater. The triple heater in Chinese medicine doesn't exist in English medical terms, but it's a combination of working together your respiratory system, your digestive system, and your urinary system. So the combination of respiration, digestion, and elimination. And each of those is involved with some kind of elimination. So your kidneys are eliminating urine, your lungs are eliminating carbon dioxide, and your digestion is eliminating feces. And then, of course, you've got your skin surrounding everything, which is eliminating sweat. And if all of those are working really efficiently, then we have a good ability to cleanse the cells that, and of course, they're also made up of cells that need cleansing. So something I'm going to send out is to have a look at what you drink this week, and next week when I see you, we'll have a look at relating that to what we talk about next week as well. Would you like to just think about your present health for a mo, and how you'd like your cells to feel in 20 years' time, or within the next 20 years?
Yeah, well, I think apart from me arthritis, which does seem to be more or less in the knees and the hips, it's not very painful, and I think that must be because I have been on a supplements and diet and water, because compared with most people, I do have a few twinges in my knee. My problem with my knee is more from the point of view of if I walk for too long, then it does begin to get sore. But, or if I sit for too long. But basically, if I'm lying on the couch or I'm in bed, it doesn't hurt at all.
Mm.
So I think, you know, at 78, it's probably as good as it gets, you know. And hopefully, if I can keep it like that, that would be great. Definitely, since, you know, I talked to you last March, you know, and you put me on things, I definitely think I'm in better, although I'm not brilliant on some things, such as the odd chocolate bar, etc. I do think my health has improved a lot.
Mm.
And my mind has improved a lot. So basically, I'm sort of hopeful of, you know, carrying on into old age.
Yeah,
Not too bad, you know.
that's brilliant.
But, you know, I mean, I'm certainly, my knee has improved a lot from when I first really started with it. I couldn't walk, I had to walk with a stick. I don't walk with a stick now.
Mm.
So, you know, within the realms of being, you know, over the 70 years and 10, I'm quite content with where I am, really. And also, you know, I lost my husband, but I think I'm much more at peace with that.
Mm.
I wasn't really for a while, but I think, yes, I think I'm quite content with my life, to be honest, at the moment, except for this damn virus. But to be honest, I take the point of view that I read in the Telegraph yesterday, 100 million people in the world have had COVID. 2 million people have died from COVID. And I think, well, 98 million have survived. So I sort of view it like that, you know, really.
Yes.
And I don't watch the news. I do read about the papers, but I don't watch the news, don't watch anything horrible. I watch Netflix and I watch funny things or amusing, frothy comedies. I won't watch anything horrible. And I think that's very good for my psyche.
Yes.
I can't go to bed if I've watched anything horrible. Well, I can go, but when I go to bed, it's on my mind. I can, you know, it disturbs my sleep. And I think I'm sleeping, on the whole, I don't always sleep. I have bad periods, but on the whole, I sleep much better.
Good.
And my bladder seems to be less intrusive at night. I'm sleeping for longer periods, you know, whereas I used to be sleeping for about, say, 3 hours and then up to the toilet. I'm sort of sleeping more for 5 hours, you know. So yeah, I think I've improved a lot in the last year since I did the first course with you. I've just got to be kept on the straight and narrow, Susie. That's the problem.
That's why I'm doing this course.
I know it does help a lot.
Keep
It
me
really
on
does.
the straight
It's
and
amazing, really. Yeah. No, I feel very hopeful, and I don't allow myself to be dragged down by the consistent, you know, quarantines and things like that. Mind you, I'm lucky I live in the Isle of Man. We've been in quarantine for the last 2 weeks, but to tell you the truth, I've just done really what I usually do. I've been to the physio because the physio is still working. I've been for my acupuncture. I've been to Marks and Spencer's and done my shopping once a week. I have stuck to the rules. I do only go for a walk once a day, but but we're coming out of it at the weekend, so I'm going to go and get my hair done. So we are lucky. I can imagine if you're in it for months, it must drag you down. And I think your rules are probably stronger, aren't they? Do you have physios and things working? The dentists are working here, you see, and you know, I think they're not in England, are they?
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely feel my health has improved in the last year.
How long have you known Susie then?
Well, I've known Susie a long time, but I've never done her courses.
All right.
Oh, no, I have been on those juice courses.
Yeah,
Mm.
you've been detox.
I have been on them, yeah. But I was one of these people that did the course and then came back and did go back a bit, you know, quite a bit to my old ways, really.
Mm.
But I think during lockdown, because we were in lockdown at the same time I did the course with you,
Mm.
I think I was very low. I had a lot of things going wrong in my life. And having to move out of my house for a start, remember. And this lockdown. And my knee was particularly bad. And I did the course, and bit by bit, I did improve. And I definitely feel I've made, but I'm very fortunate that I'm on my own, which is unfortunate. But the thing is, you can devote yourself to yourself. You
Yes,
can do the exercises. You can,
I'm on my own, Anne, and it's
yeah.
and I'm a bit of a health nut, if you know what I mean. I think I
Yeah.
would drive somebody else up the wall,
I know.
but I am so much better than I was when I first met Susie.
Yeah, no, she's brilliant. She's
No.
one of these angels, isn't she, from heaven? Okay, a little angel.
No.
No, she's made a big difference. The
Mm.
thing that I like about Susie is she's always so positive.
No.
Because quite
no,
honestly, sometimes you can meet people who are telling you all the same things, but they actually fill you full of fear, which is not really a very good thing to be full of fear, is it?
no, that's very
No.
true.
No.
But you said something really lovely and positive, which is that it's that lovely focus of it's 98,000 people that have got better.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I tell everybody.
Mm.
I said, and they all go, oh, it's terrible to see all these people on the television. And I'm thinking, and I actually, you know, one of my friends said to me, well, it's a horrible way to die. I said, well, my sister-in-law died 2 weeks ago. She had fibrositis, which meant her lungs were all scarred, which was a terminal disease. And she couldn't breathe. And she was on oxygen and dying. I don't imagine that her death was any worse than anyone with COVID or any better, because she was kind of suggesting that to die from COVID was much worse than any other death. You know, I mean, it's a bit of a morbid thing to say, but you know, it's been propaganda, hasn't it, really?
And what was part of her death certificate, Anne?
Well, her death certificate is pneumonia.
Oh, right. Oh,
Yeah,
not
no,
COVID.
no, pneumonia, double pneumonia. She had pneumonia. I think it was double pneumonia. It's in both lungs, but the both lungs were damaged anyway, and it was a terminal disease that she had. There was no cure.
I was listening to a doctor the other day, and they said pneumonia is an old man's best friend.
Well, it is, yeah. My
Yes.
mother died of pneumonia, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us are going to have a terribly easy exit, are we? But I mean, you know, they've just made this into anyway. I just try to be positive, really, but I do come in for a lot of ear bashing, I can tell you. Yeah.
Well, the other thing that tickled me was that you said about the detox, and sometimes what happens is that people come on a detox and then they go home and have a retox.
I know.
And yeah, and I think one of the lovely things about looking at health this way, which is the way we are at the moment, is that it's very steady and slow and measured, and it's a little bit at a time, and then things are more likely to become permanent habits.
Yeah,
and
it is easier though if you're on your own. If you've got a family and you're busy, and it's more difficult for them.
We have to educate them young.
What's that? Sorry.
I say it's our job to try and educate them young, so they don't wait. That's our mission.
I tell you, the one thing that I think has been very, very good is exceptional is that the flaxseed in the glass with the psyllium husks with the gloop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Both
Right.
morning and night. Having it at night too. Before you
Right,
go.
I have it every morning, and I have the linseed seeds that are soaked, the psyllium, and linseed tea. That's
Yeah.
my mug of hot water every
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, it's very good. No,
Yeah.
definitely is very, very good. I remember what Susie said. She said that mixture actually clings to your wherever it's going in your body, and it sort of holds the water there so that it doesn't go straight through you. Was that what you said, Susie, or have I got it wrong?
Yes, when you're taking something that's really strongly holding the message of water, holding
Yeah.
the water there for you, it passes through more slowly than water does, because your body's got to extract the water from it. And so it's what I call slow water.
Yeah.
And so as it passes through more slowly, you can go
Yeah.
take a little bit.
No,
of
I
water
think
from it.
that has been really first class. It's something that I would never be without now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
never be.
Yes.
We'll come to that then, possibly even next week. Any questions about this evening?
So our task is to record what we drink this week. Is that our main task?
Yes, if you can note down everything you drink in a day.
Right, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Is that for our 1-to-1 of next Thursday?
that's for 1-to-1, and we'll probably have a little chat about it as a
Yeah.
group. Yeah. And also, Deb, I need to set up your 1-to-1 and yours too, Bridget, as well. If you let me know when's right for you.
When that's it that I had last week's in there.
What is it? Thursday better?
No, when I spoke to you last week, weren't that my 1-to-1?
Oh yes, your 1-to-1, your short 1-to-1 each week, about half hour, 40 minutes. Yeah.
Right, okay, so,
If you let me know what's best for you, but I'll put a little note in.
okay.
And let me see.
Could I just ask Susie about the group that you're talking about, the group for us all to be part of? Could it if everybody's happy, could we have WhatsApp group rather than Facebook?
Yes.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp is better. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes.
So is everybody else.
That's great.
Everybody happy with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't got WhatsApp. But
Oh, you
can-
haven't got WhatsApp?
No. I've
Okay.
got Messenger
Messenger.
and Facebook. I've got. I'm not sure what I'm not very brilliantly technical.
But you
Right.
could download WhatsApp, Anne.
Can you? Oh, right.
Okay.
You can't on Apple. Apple, you can't.
Oh, you can. You can.
I've
Oh, yeah,
got,
absolutely. Yeah.
I've got it on my iPhone.
Yeah,
Have
absolutely.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll have to ask my girls to do it for me.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really easy. Yeah, really easy.
Right.
We-
Okay.
we can probably have a little go at it when I speak to you on Monday.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'll probably get one of the girls. Mind you, my daughter's busy with trying to organise to go across.
Yeah.
To organise the funeral and everything, so, and of course, you're all in lockdown, aren't you? So I suppose it'll be just 10 people at the funeral, won't it?
15, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, 15. Yes, so anyway, I'll sort
We'll
it out.
sort it. We'll sort it. Yes. Yes, because I know it's difficult, isn't it? Well, not everybody's on Facebook and not everybody's on WhatsApp. So
I try to avoid Facebook. I do go on
yes.
because that's how I know what my grandchildren are doing. But the rest,
Do
you know,
you want to know what your grandchildren are doing? Oh dear. I have to pretend I don't know what my grandson, he's 18, because they're not supposed, you know, this last 3 weeks we've been in lockdown and you're not supposed to meet anybody from a different household. Well, there's an old railway line here, you know, where it's now a path, you know, 10 miles long. He meets his girlfriend down there. So I don't want to know, okay?
I think
I
we're
know
just
the
all,
Get caught.
a
No.
bunch of little rebels on here, really.
I know. Well, it's hard being a rebel in the Isle of Man. You wouldn't be a rebel here because you go to jail. He wouldn't because
Well-
he's young, but yeah, you go
Well,
to jail.
you get fed, Anne, if you go to
Yeah.
jail, and you can
Well,
have
that's true.
do a degree, a free
I
and
know,
do a degree.
yeah. Anyway, we're out of it this weekend, so and actually they changed the rules on Thursday that you could meet up outside with another household. So of course he's meeting up with his girlfriend outside, and it's been reasonably warm this last few days. So you know, I went to my niece's actually and sat outside with her and had a cup of coffee.
Ooh.
I don't have any coffee in the house, but I do have the odd when I go out. Yeah.
That's brilliant. It's really nice to be able to see people, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be lovely if this was face to face.
Well, let's hope that in a few months she'll be, you know, 6 weeks she'll be out of it, you know, because it must be awful for people, terrible, you know, but yeah, we've been lucky over here because I mean life went back to normality in May, you know, and it was just our choir was singing and giving concerts, you know, I was going to the theatre. And it was just normal life, you know, and then Christmas came and somebody brought it in at Christmas. So, of course, they've done this lockdown again to stop it, you know. But I don't know how, I mean, I think the mental health of some people must be terrible.
Yeah.
You know, this is a great help, isn't it, this iPad? Because you can be in touch with your family so easily. So it does make a big difference. But somebody who's a bit older, who's not up to, well, I'm not up to it brilliantly, but, you know, not fantastic on it, you know, or can't do it at all, they're very isolated.
Yeah,
Because my sister has just got an iPad, her daughter bought it, but she's in her 80s. And I have been over the phone teaching her how to use Facebook. So I've got the phone in one hand and I'm saying, you see that round thing at the side? You're going to double click it. And then she says, well, there's a voice come on now asking me what do I want. And I said, you've pushed it too hard. You've got the series on. So when she says, oh, bloody hell. And then Sarah said, that's not very nice of a sister. You know. But we've got her now. She can do Facebook to me. And, you know, I normally speak to her on the phone every day. It's so much better than talking on the phone. You know, doing Facebook. You know, she takes me around. She shows me out the garden, you know, with this iPad. She shows me her husband, who's poor old thing in a terrible state. And, you know, she can show me pictures of her niece, you know, or her granddaughter. And it's a much better form of communication than the phone, much more intimate.
Right, for sure it is now.
Yeah. So we're lucky that we can do this.
We are.
This time last year we didn't know what Zoom was.
No, no, we didn't.
You know, this
No.
time last year, I never heard the word Zoom.
We're all becoming experts, aren't we? Yeah. Mm.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I think I better go because I want to speak to my daughter.
Yes.
She was trying to get in touch with me. Thanks very much, Susie. That was very
Okay.
enlightening. I've got
Yeah,
my notes here, and I'm
Okay.
sure I'll be a better girl this week. All right, you take care.
Okay, bye, Anne.
Bye,
I
Anne.
love you just the way you are. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. I'll see you all soon, and
Yeah.
I'll be in touch about
Okay,
one-to-ones.
thank you very much, Susie.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Dear.
Des. Bye, Des. Bye, Richard.
Bye.
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 Have a
Thank
good
you.
week.
Bye.